And good morning, and welcome to episode 30 of Talking to Artists. And this will be the last one for year 2020. And it's amazing to me, actually, I've done 30 episodes because originally this was something to kind of get me through COVID. But the original concept was to create a podcast that was for artists to understand a little bit more about some of the business that goes into actually not just creating the art, but getting it out there, promoting it, selling it, shipping it, going digital, all those things that have been really critical these days. And also for collectors and art lovers, just to kind of understand a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes with artists. So I'm really excited this week to talk to Marissa Sweet, who is ridiculously busy and seems to have her fingers in so many different things. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her. She is a landscape painter that does wonderful, colorful, vibrant works, basically, of the Canadian landscape, which are very inspiring. And she's also very involved in the Ontario Society of Artists, so we're looking forward to hearing her about that too. So she sent me a request, and I accept her request. And I'm looking forward to chatting with her. Just going to wait for a bit. Hi!
Hi!
Hey, how are you? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Wow, you look great.
Oh, thanks. Well, you know, all the proper lighting. I don't know.
Well, thank you for inviting me to your Talking to Artists. It's an honor to be invited.
Well, I'm so excited to do it. And you interviewed me right at the very beginning of COVID. And so I wanted to give enough time between those two interviews so we could kind of see what you're up to. But yeah, holy cow, I was on your website and every time it's like, oh, Marissa's doing something new. She's doing classes and she's doing interviews. And it's like, holy cow, you're a busy woman.
I try to keep myself out of trouble.
Yes, I know. I get that. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I think especially nowadays too, where so much of it is, so much of the things we're used to doing in terms of the shows are canceled, you kind of have to fill that gap with something else that sort of still feeds that need to connect and I think to give back to the community, right?
Yeah, I think so. It works out well for me actually in a different way, because it allowed me time to explore more in terms of my painting process. So without the deadlines, I could just be free and just create and just paint for myself. So I don't know if it affected you that way, but I just felt that I've sort of grown during this isolation period creatively.
So yeah, maybe talk a bit more about that. Like, so what has it allowed you to do, and how do you see your painting has changed then in the last 8 months?
In the last 8 months, I guess it's because I was able to focus more on it, and I'm not rushing and dashing into another class, or I have to stop because I have to attend to another lecture that I'm giving. So this opportunity of isolation allowed me to just really focus on what I wanted to create for myself. There was no deadline. Jury shows were kind of like up in the air for a while, and
Yep.
so I wasn't pressured. So I guess that's how it changed and it evolved, because I started, investigating different brushes and investigating and mixing new colors and finding out, oh, if this appealed to me or what. And I think I found a little bit of a fun go there. So
Well, I guess the reality too is that, if it didn't work out and you didn't like the brush, and in the end the painting wasn't something you were that fond of, even if it was an amazing experience, there wasn't this pressure of, you can't afford to do that. Like, because,
Yeah.
when you're doing shows, you have to have the pieces ready. And so you don't have the same luxury of kind of going, yeah, that piece was super fun, but kind of crappy. So it's not going into my inventory.
Yeah, because there's no deadline, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you're not in I guess you're not in the production mode, I guess is what you would call it, that you have to create art, specifically so that you could put into a show. This time it was more being just creative for yourself. So that I enjoyed a lot. So yeah.
So I've had a number of artists though that have said that the flip side, that without those deadlines, it was hard to kind of make art a priority with all the other things that life gets in the way, but also even just to get motivated to work without a deadline. So I guess it's a balance between the two of those.
Yeah. And for the first month of COVID, like early months of March, April, I wasn't really productive because I was a little bit, um, you know, we were all up in the air. We didn't know what was going on. So
Yeah.
it's also very, very hard to come down to the studio and feel the energy when you're uncertain, right? But then
Hmm.
as we started to learn more about the pandemic, then I started slowly going down and just freeing myself in the studio. Yeah.
And where is your studio? Is it in your home or is it located externally?
No, my studio's at home. It's in my basement. So, yeah, very lucky to have the space that
Yeah.
I could work down here. And yeah, it's my quiet a refuge
Your
from.
cocoon.
It's my cocoon. Yours is outside, right? Yours is now in your cottage, or
Well, I'm actually a studio hog because I have one at home, which is where I'm sitting now.
yes,
And I typically it's smaller, so I typically tend to do my smaller pieces or my resin here. And then I
yeah,
have Art Alchemy, which is
right,
at Laird and Eglinton.
yes,
And although there are six of us that share the space, we have a really strict COVID protocol, so only a certain number of us are there at the same time. And
right,
we're far enough apart that we can easily keep 10 feet apart. And
yes,
for me, it's been a really great a godsend just because it's allowed me to kind of have conversations with people at a safe distance. So you're painting and you're chatting, and I've just really
right,
treasured that. Yeah, and then
yeah.
recently, with the cottage, I thought, well, may as well convert the cabin into my cottage, so that's my third studio.
Yeah,
Never
you're so
enough.
lucky. And then, I mean, like in the
I am.
summertime, is your cottage like all season? So you
It is.
you could go
Yeah.
there
So
in the
we're
winter.
Yeah, so we're
Oh,
spending Christmas up there, and for the
yeah,
first time in years, we're actually going to keep it open, and so we can go up anytime during the winter, which I'm really looking forward to because there's something about being in nature when it's really cold out that's just magical.
oh, magical. And then wow, all the
Yeah,
creativity that you can, just absorb. My gosh,
yeah,
yeah. And all the winter paintings that you will be producing. All the all
yeah.
the
Although,
all the
will people know
silver.
it's abstract? Who's going to
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just so I really love your abstracts, and they're just they are truly joyful, and I really your tagline for it being joyful is true to your art. Yeah.
well, thank you. Yeah, which at the beginning as well was a bit of a challenge because it's hard to paint joyful work if you're not really feeling joyful.
That's
And I think it's for a lot of time too this year. There's been mourning for not only the people, of course, that have kind of succumbed to this disease, but also just the mourning of basic stuff like going and getting a coffee and meeting with your friends and stuff.
yeah.
So it has taken me some kind of really concentrated thinking about, okay, I need to flip that over and realize how incredibly blessed I am and lucky to have a space I can paint, lucky to be
Hmm.
able to have a job that's pretty darn amazing,
Right. Right. Yeah. And then you have a show right now too with the round little ones. The round little
Yeah,
ones.
that just ended. Pi Art Squared. Yeah, that was a lot of work, but it was super fun. Yeah, and again, it was really interesting to hear the feedback from a lot of the artists who kind of said, I needed something that was sort of an interesting challenge, something I hadn't done before, but wasn't overwhelming. And
Right.
so it was. Yeah, so you'll have to do it next year
Oh,
for this.
yeah, thank you. I guess this was your first go at it, so that was kind of neat to see it more from a concept to an actual show. Yeah, that was really
Yeah, so it
great.
was it was a pilot to kind of work through those ideas
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't really sure, especially with COVID and being so unpredictable as to what we'd be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of kept it a little bit small. It ended up being bigger than I expected, but next year we'll probably do a full submission, and hopefully we'll have like
My
billions of little rounds. That'll be cool.
Yeah, were you sponsored by the canvas that did the round?
Yeah,
Oh, so
so
that's
yeah,
nice.
Rustic Burl were amazing. They gave us a really good deal on the panels because part of the challenge with circles is that they are really hard to find and they're
Yes.
quite inconsistent. So this way, everybody painted on exactly the same thing.
Hmm.
And Rustic Burl has just started doing artist pieces, so they do regular square pieces as well. So it was kind of a nice partnership because it allowed us to kind of help promote them to the artist community because artists were actually forced to paint on their panels. They got to really experience what it was like to work on them. So
Yeah, yeah. Is
yeah,
it
it
still
was good.
ongoing? Is it still ongoing?
No, it
No,
just closed. Well,
it
actually,
just
I think
ended.
I think I have to close my website, actually. I probably should shut down the store.
I
The
liked
store is
how
still
you
open, apparently. I forgot to shut it off.
rush secrets
Yeah,
out. It's still open.
that's right. You have until
You
about
have
4
until
o'clock today.
to still buy the original artwork. Yeah, no, I mean, I saw your you opened a bottle of bubbly, and you had a
We
socially
did.
distanced toast, and
Yeah,
to
which is so
formally
funny.
open.
Yeah, because we're
Yeah,
trying to move around each other and keep our distance and wear our masks and stuff. But yeah, I'm really, really hoping next year, and we might do it at a different time of the year because it would be really great to do it in person where people could actually come into the studio, or we can set it up outside and people can kind of come through. It would be super fun. But
yeah.
anyway, enough about me because I want to know more about you.
I know. I'm not used to being on this side of
I
being
know, you're like a
interviewed.
born interviewer. You keep
I'm
flipping it on
always
me.
the one interviewing. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'll keep quiet now. You can ask me a question.
So I'm going to grill you because I'm just so curious to understand. I saw you on the Landscape Artist of the Year on TV, which was super cool. I'd love to know what the process was, like what you had to go through to kind of get there, how you found it when you got there, what the experience was.
Yeah, no, it was I didn't know about it until a friend of mine sent me the email link that there was a call out. And this is Rhonda Payne. I don't know if you know Rhonda Payne, but
I know
he's,
the name, but I don't know her.
he sent me the link to it, and she said, "Marissa, this is for you. You are the landscape person." So
Yeah,
because she does abstracts and wonderful abstracts, big, bold, and so I said, I looked at it and I go, okay, let's give it a shot. It was, the call out was open, so it's not like you have to pay for it. So I said,
right.
let's give it a shot. So I
Worth a
sent in my
try.
application. Yeah. So they wanted, recent work and all that. Then I haven't, and then I didn't hear from them. So I think the call came around July, August, and then I didn't hear from them until maybe September. And
Oh,
then they
wow.
said you're shortlisted as one of the finalists, and I'm like, so I'm like,
But of
super
course, you
like
can't say anything, right? You have to keep it all
calm.
secret.
Yeah, so I said, so they said, will you have time for a Skype interview and with one of our producers? So I said, of course. So
Yeah. Yeah, let
so
me think about this. I
yeah,
think so.
my schedule is busy. But anyway, yeah, so okay, so I went for the Skype interview, and I guess they liked what they saw, and then so they said we'd have to have another discussion and another interview. So there was another one, and
And
then
do you know what they were looking for? Like obviously they want to
well,
make sure that the art's there, but were they looking for just personalities or
I really
commitment
don't
or
know. I think they were looking for also if you could get to the schedule of shooting dates too, because
right.
they're gonna shoot it all in one day, and they wanted to make sure about your timing, and they wanted to know your process in painting. A lot of other
Hmm.
questions that I guess they were trying to just understand you as an artist and kind of place you where you would fit maybe in the show. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
which
there
kind
was
of
a
makes
lot of
sense because I mean, because I watched all of them, and it was interesting that within each episode, the art was quite different. Like there wasn't a
different.
lot of overlap in types of art or process or anything, which made it really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think they wanted to have a unique artist in every episode. So I think that's why they were really understanding our process and what really motivates us and what we paint. And
Right.
then they said, okay, can you make it to Toronto on such and such a day? And la la la, don't tell anyone. It is, what do you say? You're bound by your
Oh, privacy
confidentiality,
and secrecy,
privacy.
like a spy.
I'm gonna call my husband. so, so can you make it to Toronto? And then yeah, so I made it to Toronto. I had to do a little, a secret James Bond thing with my friends, saying I was attending a workshop because they said, why are you here in Toronto? Because I'm in Oshawa, right? Because I
Yeah.
had to stay overnight with them because they had to pick me up at 4 in the morning to go on the
Oh,
location.
wow.
So my friends thought, "Oh, wow, where's your workshop again?" And I go, "I really don't know. Somewhere out
I'm
there."
kind of being spacey. Yeah. Some guy's picking me up at 4 in the morning, but I don't know where I'm going. That's not suspicious.
Yeah, and they go, 4 in the morning. Okay. So my friend woke up with me and we went down because I had to bring everything. I had to bring
Yeah.
my gear. I had to bring my plein air gear and my submission piece, which it was a 30 by 30 wood panel. So they had to see that too. And she said, and then it was a white van. So, so my
The
friend goes,
classic
"Are you
white van.
sure
Yeah.
you're going to a right workshop location?" "Yeah, I'm good." Right. And I've never seen the producer before. "Oh, hi. Yeah, she's my friend." And anyway, a whole day
Wow.
of taping. And then my girlfriend said, "Text me if, during the
If you're
day in
still
your
alive.
workshop, if you're, if you're still alive." But we were not allowed to use our phones. We were constantly busy. We were painting, being interviewed, constantly. It was a fun-filled day. It was a blur. And yeah, and I met lovely, lovely artists and really good, talented, skillful artists there. And the production crew was amazing. So I don't know if you felt that at the show.
Well, it certainly seemed like there was a really good camaraderie between the people coming to interview as well as the other artists and stuff. Like people seemed pretty comfortable,
Yeah,
um, considering that they're kind of painting on cue on TV and stuff, which is obviously got to be a little bit nerve wracking.
a little nerve-wracking. It was so hot that day too. And I think it was hot
Right.
pretty
I
much
remember.
first, second, third episode was so hot because it was all I don't know. That was like an unusual September. It was super
Hmm.
duper hot, and then on the finale it rained, so which
Yeah, I
was
heard, and they were doing, I remember one where they were doing clouds and the clouds kept changing because there was a storm coming in. So
yeah,
they
that
were
was when
constantly having to repaint.
Andrew Sukra was in that last one,
That's right.
right? And
Yeah.
yeah, and also wow, I mean, like Tosh was there too, and then it rained and he was pouring paint all over. It's like crazy. It was a great adventure. When they happened, if they do another season, I mean, I really highly recommend for artists to apply.
Yeah, I would love to do it. I mean, I don't know if I'd be eligible since I'm abstract, but when I first heard about the, Canadian or the landscape artist of the year, I kind of
Yeah,
assumed it was more realism. But when actually I saw it, there was quite a few things that were more abstract or conceptual.
that's right.
So that'd be
Yeah,
super fun.
I think they want really unique and different takes on the landscape, and I
Hmm.
know you do that too. I mean, yours could be because it's an abstract. It
Yeah,
goes from your head.
anything.
So
Yeah. I know. So that's the question, though. It's just
of
like,
your
oh,
spirit.
look at this lovely landscape. I'm like, I'm going to paint something completely different. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
and so you're obviously you had 4 hours to complete a piece from beginning to end, right? And do
Mhm.
they pull you out during that time to interview you, or do you actually have your full 4 hours to concentrate? Or
No, no, that's part of the game, I guess. Well, not really game, but it's part of the process of this um, unscripted TV show. So throughout the painting session, so morning we started around 10 and we painted, I think, for 2 hours. And in between those 2 hours were interviews and a few things that we had to um, shift, not basically able to focus really on a full 2 hours of painting. Then we broke
yeah,
for lunch, and which is great because we were hungry. And then we go back to painting again another 2 hours, which I think they gave us more time there, not much interviews, but still there were interviews, because all three judges had to come up to you and interview you, and then the
right.
host would come up and interview you. Then there would be moments that they would just take photos of you. So it was a constant flur of activity. So you're in and
So
out of the focus time.
that must be hard then, because you can't. It's not like you can kind of get into the zone and paint for 4 hours and produce something in 4 hours. You're really kind of doing these little chunks, which I don't know about you, but it always takes me a while
It
to get
takes me a
back into
while.
that zone if I'm disrupted.
yeah, you get into the zone, and then all of a sudden there's an interruption. So yeah, it can get a little bit you sort of like you start up and then you turn it off again, and you start up again, then you turn it off.
Yeah. And you
So
kind of have to remember where you were, kind of,
yeah, and
like,
you were going somewhere already, and then yeah, but I think
yeah,
it was fair throughout, so everybody was going through the same as well. It's not
yeah,
like somebody was painting a good 1 hour straight, while you're being interrupted. I think
yeah.
everybody
I
was
guess the
all
challenge is going to be that some work and some artists are better able to do that. Like I know for me, there's certain parts within my process that I really can't stop. Like if I'm staying in the background, I'm in the middle of it, I can't stop. Otherwise, it gets all gloppy. But there are
yeah.
other places where I could stop, right? So that would make a difference in terms of what I would be able to achieve, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I agree 100%. It took me a while actually to find what I wanted to paint, because where I was situated, which was at the first pod, I only had the barn, which was right there. But I
Yeah, and
wanted to
that's
paint the landscape, which was right there, and I can't see it very well. So I was like,
right.
I was debating, what am I really going to paint? So I decided to paint on the tree, not on the tree, but I wanted to paint the tree. And so that's what I focused on, the big giant maple.
And do you usually paint from reference? So I know you do a lot of plein air painting, but you paint from reference even if you're in your studio, or
Oh, yeah, yeah. I do
so
paint.
you needed to have a good visual of what you were painting then, where
Yeah,
your location was.
I do paint plein air. And again, that's very quiet. You're on your own. You're, listening to the birds sing. So this is a totally different plein air with a flur of production crew running about, and uh, and also being in that competitive aura. It's like you're looking at other people. It's almost like you know how they call that, the art battle. It's almost like an
Oh,
art battle
yeah.
in a different way, which was fun. So yeah, I don't know where I was what I was talking about now.
No, that's
Yeah.
cool. No, I can totally see that. Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed watching it. I mean, I think it was interesting to watch generally, but as an artist, it was just fascinating to watch different people's techniques and what they do and how they mix color and the way they approach things was really, really cool.
Yeah, and did you watch it through Makeful or the CBC
Yeah,
release? Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was through Makeful
Mm-hmm.
because I think I watched it and
Oh,
because
in
I know
February.
the last episode I had to wait, so it was basically it was running. I was watching it pretty much live, I
Yeah,
guess. So I'm
yeah.
not sure where that was.
But I do take reference photos when we go for a hike or when we go camping. I always take pictures and I work from pictures. Like this one here is from a photos as well. But I also painted this on site. So I have a little mini one and then now
Hmm.
I'm doing it bigger. So it's a really humbling experience. It's like golf for me, that you go out there and you got a good day. Then the
Yeah,
next day you go and you don't know what happened, because you could hit that far and it went this way. So
yeah,
yeah, I really like plein air because it really humbles you to just observe and learn. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's okay. It was just
yeah.
practice, right? Just practice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of interested in doing some of that. I'm trying to figure out whether or not if I do plein air, it's just basically painting more realism because that seems to be more natural with plein air, or whether or not I try and kind of incorporate. I mean, I'm inspired by nature. I'm inspired by photographs, and that's how
Yeah.
I do my work. But obviously, it's not representational, so I'm not sure how valuable that plein air experience would be if I'm kind of making it up anyway. I'm trying to
Well,
figure that out.
I think it's also I think it's good practice just to observe and to see, and I think you pull that into your abstracts,
Yeah.
really. I know your abstracts are up in the air, but in all in your mind, your creative mind, but somewhere in there it's going to remember that bark of birch tree that you saw when you were on a hike, or when you were
Hmm.
paddling in your on your lake, right? So I
Yeah.
don't know, even just your water series, that's already based on probably just being on the lake where you are.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, because
And I get that same feeling,
all
that energy when I'm painting them. Yeah.
yeah, all the reflections of the water that you can create with your abstracts, I'm sure that's what your subconscious retains as you're looking at the lake, as you're having your morning coffee.
Hmm.
which is
So
nice.
I love the photographs you post when you're doing plein air. Though you've got like it looks like you've got about 15 coats on and hats and mittens and like how do you paint with all that stuff on?
It
You're
was
really committed.
committed.
Well,
I
yeah.
started up to end of fall, but I haven't really. Well, yeah, okay. I did paint outdoors in the winter. It's I don't know. I don't know. It's sort of like guerrilla warfare. I'm going to do this. It's a
Yeah.
challenge. I'm going out there with my Michelin suit and I'm gonna paint. And then, but I only paint for like maybe 45 minutes and then it's done because it does get cold and then, you can't focus anymore when you're cold.
And do you paint with oil or acrylic or?
I paint in oils. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
I
that
love
probably helps.
acrylic, but I paint in oils. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're out
Oh,
there,
that's
it's not gonna dry on you.
right. That's what I was wondering because I paint acrylic usually, so I'm like, how on earth would I keep it from freezing, from getting too cold? Or yeah,
Yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe do you use retarder?
not usually. I usually work pretty clean because
Go
I like it to be really thick.
thick. Yeah, you
Yeah,
like yours
but
thick. Do you add
but
gel to it?
I could. Yeah, I mean, I could
Yeah.
just try something different.
Try
That's the
something
point,
different.
right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
maybe just start like, well,
might just
start.
break down and use a brush and oil paints.
Yeah. Oh no, Marissa's gonna be happy
Yeah,
because I broke down and bought some oil paints. No, no, try it first. Especially when you're out there in the cottage, and maybe
yeah.
you can. I actually started doing this by just staring out the window from inside. So
Hmm.
your studio and your cottage is conducive to just staring out the window and just choosing that, and
Yeah,
then choosing that to paint. You're still comfortable, warm inside, but you're painting a winter scene on the outside,
yeah. Although,
right?
I'm just kind of, when you said about, just kind of going out there, there is something kind of a little bit romantic about like taking your stuff on your back, kind of like the group of seven did, and traipsing into the woods and painting something that's,
Yeah,
in the middle of the snow. Like I think there is a bit of I don't know, a Canadian folklore around that whole experience.
yeah. I think it's you have to really experience it. And that's all I can say is just try it out. Maybe just the one time. Try it
Hmm.
out. Maybe go out for just 45 minutes. And the maximum I paint outdoors is probably 3 hours. And that's the maximum on a really nice day. But
Yeah.
normally I go out for just 2 hours and you could get a lot done, and then you could do the rest in studio, maybe another 20% of it, and then
Hmm.
it's still considered a plein air. So I
Oh,
normally, because I did a plein air retreat this year, and most of them are not experienced painting outdoors, but they are painters already. They are artists, but they've
yeah.
never painted outdoors. So I gave them just a little advice and a little tips and techniques on how to just be brave and get out there and experience it. And yeah, they loved it.
Okay. You've inspired me.
It's lovely. I cannot express the feeling you get when you're out there. It's all
Yeah,
the endorphins. It's
I
all the
know.
energy, right?
It sounds
Nature.
amazing. Yeah. And I just bought snowshoes, so I'm just visualizing my snowshoes, my paints. It'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, leg warmers and all the
Yeah.
yeah, all hot paws and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
yeah.
important.
I don't know. You think we're gonna have a cold winter?
I don't know. They say that the Farmer's Almanac says it's supposed to be cold, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I mean, I think you kind of have, as with everything else this year, you just have to kind of go with the flow, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, and you're in Toronto right now, right? So I
Yeah.
guess what you miss is going out to cafes and meeting your friends outdoors.
Yeah. I mean, it's busier in Toronto, right? So it means that doing everything is just a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, we have a great backyard, so I spent a lot of time there in the summer, which was really nice. And
That's right. You have a pool.
yeah,
So that really helps, if you
yeah, it's my little bit of water, even though it's not real.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I also wanted to talk to you about because I think I really read on your website, which I thought was quite fascinating, which kind of ties really beautifully into the conversation we're having now. Is that kind of concept of almost like nature therapy or green bathing or feng shui to kind of have that connection with not only kind of mental health and stuff with when you're part of nature and you're connected to nature, but also you're saying how you structure your paintings that kind of create that interconnectedness with the landscape.
That's right.
Can you
Yeah.
talk a bit about that?
Well, I don't know if you know, but I'm also a Feng Shui consultant.
I didn't know. That's cool.
So I did practice and studied with Master Joseph Yu in Richmond Hill, and he is my Feng Shui master. So worked with him in his school for about 10 years. So yeah, so I'm all about understanding energy and how it affects you in your daily life, and my paintings have to have that same energy, and it's also about conserving and respecting nature, because nature does give us life. So
Right.
it's almost like the yin and yang. So you have the circle of life, and you have a little bit of the good and the bad and the happy and the sad. It just connects that way. So with my paintings, it has to have harmony, it has to have balance, it has to have the feeling of serenity, and then also the feeling of energy. So that's how I sort of incorporate that into my paintings.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you totally succeed in that.
Oh, thank
Well,
you.
yeah, I know. I was watching you. You had a video the other day, actually, on Instagram. Maybe it was this morning, where you're kind of, I could see you painting. And
Yeah.
I love, certainly, I like think that the composition and stuff is something that's very soothing and stuff like that. And then you always add those pops of really bright, beautiful colors that just sort of create that joyful energy, which I love.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the video I put in this morning. I haven't done a time lapse in a while. So I said maybe I should do a little time lapse to see, to show other people what I'm up to right now in the studio. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, my time is a little bit fragmented right now because my father is not well. So, and my father lives with
Oh, sorry to
us.
hear.
Yeah. So, I attend to him as his primary caregiver, and
Hmm.
so yeah, but there are times that he's fine and I can paint. So yeah, so last night was a good night to paint. So I said, let's put it on a video and let's just share it with everyone. Say
Yeah.
hello. What am I doing? I'm doing this right now.
Well, I think it's great. I love watching that. I watched, I think it was Sheila Davis, 10 minutes the other day watching her clean out her sludge jar. And it was,
Oh
which was fascinating to me
yeah,
because I paint in acrylics and I paint
right.
with a palette knife. So I have almost no waste. Like I don't have sludge and I don't have stuff I have to clean up. So
Yeah.
it was, and afterwards I'm like, I can't believe I just spent 10 minutes watching that. And it was quite fascinating.
Yeah, I missed that actually. Yeah, I missed that. And we had our ECOAA party on Zoom last night, so I got to see Sheila then. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
She,
missed that, but yeah, that's what we do. We clean our
yeah.
sludge off the little canister because all the paint just drops into it, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah.
had no clue because I just basically wipe my knives up on my pants and I'm done.
Yeah,
It's really easy. It's for
yeah,
the lazy artist.
yeah. Are you still doing your resin work and
I am. Yeah,
no
I mean,
no
I'm,
problem with supplies? Because I'm having a hard time finding
yes.
supplies right now.
Well, it was. So I had to change. I had, because I used to use Envirotex resin because it was something I was just familiar with. And then I had a hard time getting it. And then I had a couple of bad batches that didn't set properly.
Oh.
So now I've switched over to art resin, which I
Mm-hmm.
like, but it's a little bit thinner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find that as a result, I have to often do two coats
Mm-hmm.
just because my work's so textural. But and then just so it's a matter of you have a new product, you have to get used to it. You have to kind of wrap your head around how it behaves.
Right.
But yeah, so that's good. It's been a challenge though. I mean, certainly there's colors that I usually use that I can't get as easily, or
Yeah.
there's a delay in being
Yeah.
able to produce something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
I'm
sure.
having problems right now just finding the varnish I like. So and then I found it in London, Ontario. And
Yeah.
then I tried to
Road
order
trip.
online. Well, that would be nice coming from
Yeah.
London. But they didn't allow shipping. So I understand that. They
Yeah.
didn't allow shipping of the varnish. So I'm looking to see who I know in London that could buy it for me. And then I'll just I don't know.
Yeah. You
It's
should put it
really
on the
out there.
the OSA or the Artist Network Facebook page, and maybe someone knows and it's coming
Yeah,
into Toronto.
that
Yeah.
we can meet halfway or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
so and then there's also, I mean, I also saw it in Opus Art Supplies, but that's in Vancouver, and again, it won't ship. So
And they're expensive. Yeah.
I think it's because it's varnish. So I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
I think anything varnish and paint related. I know my sister, she was flying back to Vancouver from Toronto, and she bought a bunch of oil paints.
Right.
And the person at customs said, "Well, you can't bring them, you can't ship them, you can't take them with you because they're oil paints, right?" And she's like, "Okay, so I'll ship them then." She goes, "Oh no, you're not allowed to ship them either."
Oh,
Because it's a forbidden substance, and she's like, "It's oil and
yeah.
pigment, like it's not like flammable, it's not
Right.
combustible,"
Yeah.
and they just didn't understand, so she ended up having to leave it. She was
Oh.
heartbroken.
Or did she leave it in the airport?
At the airport, yeah,
Oh
apparently they have this
no.
place where they confiscate stuff, and once a year they do these huge sales where they get rid
Oh
of all the
no.
stuff. And I would have been able to go and pick it up within 24 hours, but I wasn't in Toronto at that time, so I couldn't go. So
Oh,
it's like, oh, so
that's
someone
so
got some
sad.
really nice oil paints
Oh
from Gortzman's.
wow.
Yeah,
Did she buy it here and she was gonna bring it to? Oh,
yeah, because she's on the island, so her
that's
choices
right.
of colors aren't always as varied as what we can get here in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can she buy it? I guess she can buy it now from there, but yeah.
Well, she can now. I mean, that's actually one of the good things, I guess, about if you can say a good thing about COVID. But that
Mm-hmm.
it has actually a lot more places are figuring out the shipping and they're more willing to do that. Whereas
Hmm.
before it was just sort of pain in the ass, and so they just didn't do it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's too bad. Yeah.
yeah,
I love
yeah, she
her
was pretty
work right
upset.
now. If
Yeah, me
anybody's
too.
watching, just a plug on
Yeah.
Ellen.
Well, and I think she's another artist though. I think who has been able to take more time with her work too. Like I was talking to her yesterday, and she was saying, yeah, she feels like she looks back at some stuff where she's like, now she goes into it more times, and she has the
Mm,
time and the luxury to do that. And
mm-hmm.
I mean, I always love her work, but I do agree. I think it's getting just more, I don't know, more interesting, and the colors are interesting, and yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
And again, she's blossomed again during this time in exploring that, right?
Hmm.
Because I haven't seen
Yeah,
her explore those big giant trees in
yeah.
other work.
Well, and the colors too. Like I always love it when she puts these pops of pinks and oranges and stuff in. But of course,
That's
I'm
Are you
like
a
a
pink
color freak,
person?
just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little
It's not
bit.
even just pink. I like bright color. Like I
Hmm.
tend not to be as attracted to more neutrals. I just kind of like something that's bright and happy and very maybe unsophisticated, but that's kind of what my tendency is towards.
No. Well, that's nice. Yeah. No, I truly like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're also involved with the Ontario Society of Artists, I guess, as the VP of nominations. Is that right?
Society of Canadian
Oh,
Artists.
Society of Canadian Artists. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes. Yeah, I'm with their social media, so I do all the social media for the SCA and also the nominations committee chair, and I'm also the vice president. So I got a lot of hats,
Yeah,
which is fun, and also it takes a lot of my time. You know what it's like to do social media, but
hmm,
I truly enjoy it because I like helping other artists and getting their work out there, especially during
yeah.
this time that we can't do a in person show. Online is just much more important now, right? So I try
And
to work on that.
yeah, I think that's, and I've seen you, and
Mhm.
it's been amazing. Can you
Yeah.
maybe talk a little bit about the society and why, basically, for artists listening, what would be the benefit of being a part of that? Like
Yeah,
what?
being a benefit of the Society of Canadian Artists is that you get to, um, well, we get to help you promote your work. There's some mentoring in the association. You have the ability to put your paintings on our website, so you don't have to have your own website if you choose not to. You can put some of your work on our website and link up to your name as a member,
Mhm.
and hopefully we can get to do more shows. It's a nationwide organization, so it's all of Canada. It's not just in Ontario, so you get to meet and
That's
interact
nice.
and also have friends in another province, which is nice, in a
Yeah.
big association like that. Yeah. So it's an advantage, and we encourage you to join. You are a member.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know if I remember. I went through this phase about, I think it's about a year and a half ago, where I'm like, I need to get more involved in the industry. So I joined a whole bunch of stuff, and
And
then I
then,
couldn't remember what I joined, which is
oh,
terrible. So obviously, I'm not a very involved or engaged member, but
you
that's
were
my
there.
2021. Hmm?
Your 2021 what goal is to be more involved. Well, you're very involved with the Artist Network. You're the president, yes?
I'm the chair, yeah. So that is part of the challenge. Is I know
Yeah.
with part of these organizations, there's a commitment to volunteer, and I
Yes.
100% support that. And I know
Yeah.
how critical volunteerism is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm spread so thin that I'm part of it as I'm like, I'm going to have to be that really shitty artist who says, yeah, I appreciate how important volunteering is, but not for me.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
you kind of
but
devote one time, one. I guess I belong to four groups, and yeah, Ontario Society of Artists, um, Society of Canadian Artists, and the Federation of Canadian Artists, and the Oshawa Group of Artists. So, but
yeah,
yeah, you can only devote maybe just a few of your hours to one that you can give it 100% of your time, right?
yeah. And,
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I tend to be one of those all or nothing people too. Like I don't have a really hard time kind of going, I'm just going to do like a little bit of work and a few hours. I feel like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do I want
Yeah.
something I can get my teeth into, which tends to
Yes.
be bigger, which tends to be a lot of time. And then I'm kind
Yeah.
of sitting here kind of going, okay, I'm doing a lot of art related stuff, but I'm not spending enough time in the studio, which is obviously kind of counterintuitive.
Right. Yeah. It's all again. It does fall again into balance.
Hmm.
So we have to sort of okay. I have set this chunk or this day to just focus on the SEA. I'll
Yeah.
just focus on that and work on it. And then maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays I will be painting if I can. A
Yeah.
good chunk of hour. And then we have our family life, and then we have our obligations, and I have my obligations as well to my dad. So I have
Yeah.
to really juggle and find that good balance. It's tough. It's
Well, it
tough
is tough
because we
because,
are our own.
and at the end of the day too, like with all the good planning and, booking out time to do all this kind of stuff, then something pops up that's completely unexpected, but
Yeah,
that needs to be addressed right now. So then everything gets kind of thrown out of whack, right?
yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of planning and balance. We just do our best.
Hmm.
I think that's at the end of the day, I go, what did I do? Right? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
ADD. It's like I was
Yeah. I
here, here, here,
know.
here, here, here.
Yeah.
It's like, what did I do? I didn't quite do anything, and then I have to calm myself down and I go, oh, I did this,
Yeah.
and that was done. Check. And I did that, and that was great. Check.
I know.
Even if you just did
Do you ever
two.
do that? Yeah, where you add something to the to-do list just so you can cross it off. It just makes you feel good.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, because there's also stuff now too that like with all the other things that you had going on before as well. Now there's all the additional like the wrapping and the shipping and the packaging and the customs and all that stuff
That's
too
right.
takes a
Yeah.
pretty heavy duty chunk of time, right? The
Yeah.
coordinating and tracking of all that stuff, which is great to be able to do it, but
And right
yeah,
now too, I'm building my website. So that again is taking a lot of time, and I'm organizing my pictures and retaking some pictures. All of that
yeah,
takes a lot of time, right? So we are
absolutely,
entrepreneurs, so we do everything on our own.
yeah.
So it can get a little bit crazy sometimes because we do our own marketing and our
Mhm.
business and our planning and our painting because we have to produce something to
That's
sell.
right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, so, and we also have to enjoy it. So if you're always in work mode, it can get a little bit I don't know,
Unbalanced.
unbalanced, and you'll get really deflated. So you
Yes,
gotta
you're right.
re-energize. So I always take a walk. And it's
Yeah.
always a part of my thing is I always have to take a walk just outside. And even
Hmm.
if it's just 10 minutes, you just get that fresh air and you just explode in your head in a good way
Yeah.
and absorb and absorb good ions,
Good
negative
vibes.
ions.
Yes, I think that's totally true.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're coming almost to the end of our interview because I want to make sure I have time to save this and post it on Facebook and my YouTube
Oh,
channel. So that'd be
thank
cool.
you.
So I always like to ask some quick questions. So
Ooh,
do you have any tricks or quirks that you do to get yourself started?
yes. I always light an incense. I always have an incense, and then I go around the studio on a clockwise fashion, and that gets me started, gets me grounded to start painting.
Oh, what a cool idea.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't heard that before.
You haven't heard that before?
No, I've heard of doing it. I just haven't heard that as part of an artist ritual to
It's an artist
get
ritual for
started. But I
me.
think it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then I
And
start.
if you could only use one color, what would it be?
Oh, come on. Did I ask that question to you? Or is this like, oh,
I don't know. I'm just fascinated to see because it's just again it's such a
oh,
different
come
option.
on. One? Just one.
Just
Okay,
one.
I'll just say, okay, I'll say blue. I'll say
Yeah.
blue. Blue
And
for me. Yeah, the one,
is
the
there a
one.
particular one like an ultramarine or a phthalo or just generally blue?
Oh, you're just so bad. Okay, ultramarine. Yeah,
Okay.
ultramarine. Yeah,
Excellent.
yes. I love
And then
blue.
yeah, I love blue too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love pink as well, but blue is there's just something so inherently grounding and calming about blue. Like how you always kind of keep going back to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I like cobalt teal. I like ultramarine. I like anthraquinone blue. Oh my God. We can
yeah.
go on. Yeah.
I know. I like the deep turquoise is actually one of my favorites.
Oh
Like the
yeah. That's
yeah,
so nice. Yeah.
it's beautiful. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's fun. Okay, and the last question is, what would your big hairy ass goal be for the future? Doesn't really have to be based in reality. Just what
My
would be
what?
fun? Your hairy ass goal.
Oh,
Oh,
well, I'd like to have a group come with me and paint probably in a beautiful seaside resort in the Philippines. So to do plein air and just enjoy the coastal region and the fresh air in a beautiful province in the Philippines. That's a goal art wise to bring a group there and paint out there.
that sounds amazing.
Hmm. That's a goal.
Okay. So I'm going to sign up and I'm going to do your plein air course and I'm coming with you to the Philippines. Painting. That'd be really fun.
Oh, it would be fun, yeah. But I'll have to book it all, and all you need to do is just come and enjoy and paint and just live la vida loca in a
That
very
sounds amazing.
nice
I've never been to the
hot,
Philippines before, so that would be super fun.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be totally fun
Okay.
and
Excellent.
energizing. Yeah.
So on that note of balance and energy and travel, which is a great place to end because hopefully that's what will be in the cards for 2021.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
want to say thank you so much for spending your time with us. And
Thank
it's
you.
been fascinating to talk to you, and I can't believe how quickly the hour is gone.
Yeah, well, thank you, Kate. I truly appreciate this. I'm sort of never on the other side of an interview, so thank you for inviting me to go on your talking to artists.
Well, you're very welcome, and have a wonderful holiday with your family.
Yes, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Yes.
Bye,
Okay.
Kate.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, that was great. I'm glad we had an opportunity to talk to Marissa and all the great things that she's involved in. So this is my last talking to artists in 2020. But I think I actually am going to continue it because I really am enjoying it. And so my first one will be January 7th in 2021. And I think I'm going to have that one more as an open Q&A. If you have any questions you want to ask me, or maybe I'll just babble for a bit. And then we've got Sheila Davis and Tash Damjanovic. Sorry, Tash, I screwed up your name. Coming in early January. And I do have a couple of other artists that have been recommended to me that people would like to hear from. So if there's anybody that you think I should interview or reach out to, I'm happy to try, and because that would be super fun. So just DM me or text me or whatever, and I will try and do that. So other than that, I hope everybody has a very safe and happy holiday, and hope to see everybody in 2021. Thank you so much. Bye.